EmzUnfiltered. Authentic, credible, genuine. With Emma Brain.
So hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of EmzUnfiltered, where we kind of talk about anything and everyone, and I like to talk to interesting people and about their stories. And here with me today is Orchids Roy, and she is an etiquette coach. Hi, how are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for having me here.
And it's amazing because the first time I met you, you were very shy and you said, I don't want to tell you what I do because it's a bit embarrassing. Why would you think that? What you do is amazing.
Thank you. Well, people always associate etiquette to something that, following rigid rules or something that is old-fashioned, where in fact, especially nowadays, how etiquette can help someone, create a great first impression or build stronger relationship. So it's timely now that everyone should go back and actually learn the good manners or the proper etiquette. So sometimes, as you've said, the first time I met you, I was hesitant because I don't want people to say, oh, now I should, behave properly because I'm with an etiquette coach. So that's one of my challenges about how I'm going to convince everyone to, learn the proper etiquette and good manners, especially sending their kids to one of my workshops, because I want to help them.
Yeah.
I want to help them to be the best version of themselves.
But I didn't think that, because to me what you were talking about would be like the old-fashioned traditional and what we would call a finishing school, where you walk with the books on your head and do it. We're not talking about that. But I do feel, and it's something that I talk about on social media a lot, because when I do my coaching as well, it's all about first impressions, how you come across to people, and I feel like so many people don't have manners these days. Just the basics, like saying please and thank you, and how to ask for something, and how to behave around others. And the problem is, if the adults are losing it, the kids aren't being taught that either. So the children don't even know where to start.
Absolutely. So children, or especially smaller kids, they love to mimic. So what we do, so now a lot of adults, I'm not talking everybody, but majority of the adults are now engaged in their personal devices. Hence the reason the smaller kids are looking at you, they copy what the adults are doing. And again, nowadays, it's always fast-paced. Everyone is so competitive. So everyone is rushing, and they forget about the basic, social interaction. And pandemic came, where the schools were shut down. Kids only have their social interaction through Zoom, through, when they go to their online lessons. So I think the basic of social interaction was forgotten or was not practiced. That's one of the reasons why I decided to become an etiquette coach, because I want to share my knowledge and my passion for etiquette to a wider audience, especially the kids, because as we know, kids is the future, and I want to impart this basic knowledge of social interaction.
And how did you get into this? How did you start?
So previously I was a cabin crew trainer, and I was always fascinated by the power of etiquette and how it can transform not just one's personal life, but also their professional life. I've seen it from all my learners when they go through a 14 days training in as a cabin crew. We spoke about a lot in the social skills. So I believe in the power of etiquette and how it can transform someone to become the best version of themselves. So it started from there, and then I continued learning on my own, and then incorporating that to my day-to-day life and how I teach my kids. I'm a mother of 2 young children. So that's where it started. And then I set up my own company now. It's called Etiquette for Everyone, where I teach and I empower children and as well as adults on the principles of modern etiquette.
And I think it's really, really important. And I think it's very important to praise people, and especially children, when they do well. Like when I go to the supermarket, there's a couple of young lads and they are so polite. When they go up to the checkout, they say please and thank you. They pack their own bags. They do everything that, and I've actually said to them, I just want to tell you that you are so well behaved and your manners are perfect. Please don't ever forget that. And they're shocked when I say that to them. But I'm like, please don't ever forget this, because the way you interacted with the teller, you asked them how they are. It was so beautiful, and I hate to say it, we don't see it very often these days.
Absolutely, you're very, very right. So when the children are trained from a very young age, you know, we keep telling them, say please or thank you. At first, they don't understand the concept.
Yeah.
You know, why I have to say this? And later on in life, they will realize, oh, I need to say thank you or please if I need something, if I want to get something. So they started to learn and realize, or these are the things or the steps that I need to do in order for me to get something. So same with etiquette. If we ingrained this, if we train them from a very young age, then it will become second nature to them. And for you to observe that to a boy, and he didn't realize that he's actually, you know, doing an amazing thing. You know, he's having a great he actually made a great first impression of you by doing the proper etiquette, and he didn't realize that this is something that, you know, I want to impart, I want to teach children.
Rather than I want or give me.
That's correct, yeah.
which we see so often here, which is very frustrating. I mean, one of my bugbears is children in restaurants or eateries. I mean, look, when I was little, this is going way, way back, you know, where my parents were told, you're seen and not heard. You know, that's how I was brought up. Kids are seen and not heard. You're there, you behave, you da-da-da-da-da-da. It drives me crazy when you see kids just running around amok, because yeah, I get it, kids like to play and everything, but it's also a lack of self-awareness, but it's a lack of awareness for other people as well. And I think that is very lacking right now.
That's correct. So again, at this time and age, we are so, you know, engaged with our personal devices. When we go to a restaurant, you know, I try to encourage my friends, and even myself, I'm guilty. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but I try to make sure that I keep my mobile phone away and try to engage to my kids. In that way, they can see I'm not with my mobile phone.
Yeah.
So they'll try to, you know, talk to me. For smaller kids, can be a little bit challenging.
Yeah.
So we always try to bring something that can keep them engaged. Maybe a coloring book. I know that majority of the restaurants here in Dubai, they provide that, a coloring pencil and a sheet of paper. But think of something that you can bring to a restaurant that your kids enjoy. Maybe a puzzle game or something that they can play around, and then you can talk to them while they're playing instead of giving them the device. It's not that, you know, I'm not saying like, you know, it happens all the time, but at least we tried our best to, you know, keep them engaged so they don't get bored, because kids needs to have engagement,
stimulation
all the time. For older kids, yes, they already have this basic understanding. This is the perfect time to actually, you know, talk to them in an adult way. They understand, you know, why it's very rude to be on their mobile phone and not, you know, engaging with an adult on the table. And yes, encouraging everybody to
I'm
attend,
so glad you said that. Speak to children in an adult way. I've been in schools doing road safety presentations and things like that, and I understand the challenges. That's why I have full respect for teachers. I understand the challenges of dealing with children, but I've always found if you explain things to children, if you speak to them in an adult and mature way, they're far more responsive than if you're just yelling at them as kids.
Absolutely. So if you keep on, you know, just criticizing them, giving them feedback all the time, kids will not listen. I was like that when I was a kid. I don't like my mom, you know, just going, oh, you did not tidy up your bedroom, blah, blah, blah. And also ask open-ended question. I'm always practicing that to my older daughter. She's turning 10 soon.
Okay.
So at first I realized whenever I ask her close-ended question, she'd always use good, I'm like, so what's good about your day? So
Yeah.
now in my workshop, I'm trying to incorporate this back and forth questioning with my students and also encourage them to refrain from using the word good and replace it with something else. And they actually enjoy this exercise in the class. And yes, it blossomed from there. And now, with my daughter, I always ask her, whenever an answer that ends with good or he has to answer good, I was like, oh, I don't want to hear that word.
I
good.
love that, because I think you particularly get that from boys. I remember that was always a frustration for my parents with my brother. It was like communication in grunts. Yes, no, fine.
Yes.
It's so typical. It really, really is. So what have been the challenges for you as a startup here, getting this off the ground?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for asking that, because it's actually one of my pain points, being a solo entrepreneur, a startup. So one of the things that I find very challenging now is to get more enrollments. I'm having a hard time attracting parents to convince their kids to enroll to my workshop, maybe because they think that it's all about old-fashioned culture, the outdated ones that I'm teaching, putting a book over their head, how to walk. But it's more than that.
Yeah.
It's more than words. So here in my workshop, I teach children how to create a great first impression, how to communicate properly, and of course, everything that entails in table manners, dining out. So I believe that, by teaching children with the basics of etiquette can take them far, later in life.
And I think it's so important, particularly because kids here kind of grow up in a bit of a bubble. So when they go out into the world, these are look, it's life skills that are going to be, they're going to help them in situations. Look at when they come to do interviews later on. How are they going to approach the interviewer? How are they going to do face-to-face interviews when they meet people for the first time? I think it's not just etiquette coaching and training that you're doing. These are life skills for kids, and it's setting them up, it's giving them a good start. And we need to get you out there. We need to get you out there to do this, because it's so important.
That's right. These are essential life skills that your kids will thank you for.
They will.
Later on in life, they will come to you and thank you for gifting them these essential life skills that they will use for the rest of their lives.
Well, I think what you're doing is absolutely fantastic. I shall pop all your links in the description so people can find you. And
thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining me here.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you, everybody.
So if you want etiquette for yourself and your kids, come and find Orchids. That's it for another episode of EmzUnfiltered. I'll see you next time.